Is the, you didn't put your title on.
Mia's going to talk to us about summer internships working with UK Extension.
And so, thank you, and I'll turn it over to you.
All right, good afternoon. How are you all this afternoon? Great. Well, my name is Mia Farrell, and I am the Human Resource Specialist for Cooperative Extension Service. And so one of my roles is the internship program. And so with this internship program, there are so many opportunities. We have 120 counties across the state, and it is a great internship. I started in the internship program in 2008, and then I became a 4-H agent in 2011 in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which is Christian County, far west. And I was a 4-H agent for 3.5 years, and now I am the Human Resource Specialist for Extension. And so I'm going to play a short video, and then I'll go into a little more detail about the internship program.
No matter what, they're going to find something that's interesting in this process.
This is an awesome experience, really. It leaves you a lot of room for creativity.
What I love best about working here is working with the children.
I'm a senior at Western Kentucky University, majoring in agricultural animal science.
My name is Cole Bell, and I'm a cooperative extension intern.
An internship program is something that can have a positive impact on all the stakeholders involved in the program.
For 12 weeks during the summer, college students work in a professional role in one of our county or state offices. 34% of new county agent hires were interns.
My internship prepared me to become a 4-H agent. My current position as the Human Resource Specialist is another door that opened through the internship program.
There's an extension office in each of the state's 120 counties. Every office has an agent position in ag and natural resources, family consumer sciences, and 4-H youth development.
So I chose the Cincinnati Zoo as my special project, just looking at all the different endangered animals and endangered animals that are here in the Cincinnati Zoo. They got to watch a cheetah encounter.
Two of the cheetahs, they ran after the ball, and they were pretty fast.
I just want to encourage the children to take pride in animals.
Feeding the giraffe was very interesting. I've never done it before.
And know that everything that they do, from littering to not recycling, affects, a greater purpose and a greater population of animals.
Engagement, exposure, and opportunity. That's the 3 words that come to mind when I think about my internship with the Cooperative Extension Service. Engagement, by having a wonderful mentor, exposure to Kentucky agriculture, and opportunities to develop me as a professional, as Assistant Dean and Director for Diversity. Through Kentucky Extension, my dreams became a reality.
Depending on the intern's placement, they can expect to be professionals and interact a great deal with the public, giving presentations, attending 1 week of 4-H camp, and participating in extension-sponsored meetings and field days.
You know the background of your food, and that's very important in today's time. The 100-mile potluck is in support of locally grown foods within 100 miles of Bannum County. We've really utilized our Facebook page, inviting people here and letting them know about that. Today, I expect a wide variety of your regular vegetables, your tomatoes, your squash. We'll have a ton of squash. But within 100 miles, I've also learned this summer that we have a lot of different varieties of peppers, and everything from hot to sweet. The community really likes it. They're proud that they grew that squash in their garden.
Students can go through their college's co-op experimental education department or through a sponsoring faculty member to earn college credit for the internships.
I am a Recreation and Parks Administration major, and I have to have an internship to graduate. And it just so happens that Recreation and Park Administration is a major that you can use to become a 4-H agent. So I was like, well, I can do the 4-H internship and gain knowledge about being a 4-H agent along with getting college credit as well this summer.
I'm Kiara Crawford. I am a family consumer science extension intern in Shelby County. And today we did a program called Kids in the Kitchen. And it was basically the kids being able to work with all types of vegetables, fruits. They learned about my plate. They learned how to fix pancakes, just small, simple things that kids could do in the kitchen. I hope through this internship program that I will be able to land an opportunity to become a film and consumer science agent, and because it aligns so much with my major as a dietetic student and as a future registered dietitian. We do a lot of the same things that a dietitian would do in their field.
Interns must have completed at least 4 semesters via sophomore or junior status. Preference is given to juniors and seniors.
I majored in agricultural systems technology at Murray State. Primarily what I'm going to talk about today is winter cover crops. You learn a lot in an internship that you don't learn from a book or in school. They encouraged each of the interns to make a presentation about extension, and I chose to make the video. What is extension? In the mid to late 1800s, legislators saw a need for rural education.
From the intern working in the county, to the supervising agent, to the county providing the funding. It's not just a box that an organization should check to say, yeah, we do that here. It's an enriching program that can have a lasting impact on the organization.
If you'd like more information about the internship program, contact Mia Farrell, UK Extension HR Specialist.
All right, so I get so excited when I talk about this internship because this is where my journey started in extension. How many of you all have had internships? 1, 2, 3, 3 of you, okay? And so through these internships, you not only learn about the company, but you learn about yourself. You learn a lot about your strengths, you learn about your weaknesses, and where your passion really lies. And so when I was here at UK, I was an Ag Econ major, and as I was going through Ag Econ, I thought, what is my passion? I had an internship with Monsanto in Houston, Texas. I had an internship with the Lexington Farmers Market, and I also had an internship in Shelby County with Cooperative Extension. And you know what? At Monsanto, you get paid a lot of money, but that was not my passion. And so when you think about extension, you are in CLD, so community development. 4-H youth development would be where you all would maybe want to be, for the simple fact that you are figuring out what the need in that county is, and then from that need, you're developing programs to improve the youth. And so you wonder, okay, how much do you get paid? What does this entail? So the internship is a paid internship. You get paid $1,800 a month. You are also able to get college credit for the internship as well. You will have to be in a county that is close to where you live or close to Lexington, being that you already have housing accommodations. You have to have a 2.5 grade point average or above. And so we really look at the whole student. And when I say the whole student, what am I talking about when I say the whole student?
More than just classes.
More than just classes, more than just grades. We're looking at experience. We're looking at what extracurricular activities you're doing. We're looking at organizations that you're a part of. And so that's just here in an internship. And then when you go to that next level, they're looking for experience. They're looking for those soft skills that you have had, not only in the books, but outside of the classroom as well. And so I encourage you all to apply for the internship. At the bottom of the sheet that I gave you all, there is a link. We have a blog where you can look at the blog and see what the day in the life of the intern looks like. Also, we have a Facebook page where the interns, they sporadically go and post what they're doing for the day during their internship. So if you all have any questions, if you all would like me to look over your resumes, whatever the case may be, my contact information is on there. And the application is open. It's open until December the 31st. Do I have any questions? You all so quiet. No questions? You all ready to apply, huh? All right. Well, thank you all so much for having me. Did everyone get a sheet? All right.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Simpson, I'm going to ask you to hand something.
Have an awesome day.
Hand these out. Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
we go. All right, let me get back our test.
So what we've got a full day today, but I want to go over the test. Dana, I missed you from the first test number 1. So that's not
It's number one.
right. So Dakota is the student system. Dakota, that's yours. Evan Jacobs not here.
Oh, wow. Wasted.
That's it. And, okay, so, quickly, let me tell you what I was looking for, and then let's, I've got a nice surprise for you, or maybe it's not, because I think I probably already told you. But, question number 1, in our text, the authors show a correlation between social cohesion, civic engagement, and civic action. And so, what I asked was for you to describe what those elements were and what the correlation is and why that's significant for community leadership. So social cohesion is this cohesiveness, it's that connectedness. It's a level of connectedness or social relationships, social responsibility for each other. People feel in a group, and in this case we're talking about social cohesion within a community. So you think of a cohesive, meaning a bond, something that sticks them together. So that's what social cohesion is. Civic engagement, in other words, is what we've been talking about. We talked about social cohesion as social capital. Trust, reciprocity, etc. That creates the bond of social cohesion. Civic engagement is really when individuals are actively participating in social or civic activities. If I get engaged, I might do it by volunteering, I might do it by supporting the theater, I might do it by voting is another example of being civically engaged. A distinction of community action from civic engagement is that I'm not just individually engaged, but community action is described as when people come together collectively or as a group to take action to address issues by the community. And so the connection there is that the authors are saying that there's a positive correlation when one increases, the other increases, between levels of social cohesion, civic engagement, and civic activity. In other words, the more people feel like they are a part of the group and a part of the community and they have identity, then they're more likely to step up and be actively engaged in the community. And the more that you have people that have a sense of cohesion and identity and engagement, you're more likely to get community action. So that's the correlation, is that when one increases, the others increase. So that's what I was looking for question number 1. Question number 2 is almost like stepping back a minute. It says, the authors, again, we're talking about Pig and our text, Gasteyer and others, say there's an importance of trust, networking, social capital, and human capital for facilitating civic engagement and building social cohesion. If those are important elements in leadership, how might a community leadership development program produce or affect change in these elements? So what I was looking for is that because where civic engagement and social cohesion are high, there's a higher likelihood of community action. So what we know is that trust, networking, social capital are kind of those elements that if you can strengthen trust and networking ability, you can increase the levels of social cohesion, and then those lead to more engagement and more community action. So basically what we're saying is, Okay, so if that's the case, who in a community is wanting to engage people in the community? I mean, churches are engaged in their own mission, in their church mission. Businesses are engaged in their profit-making business. Nonprofits usually have a specific area that they're trying to affect or influence change in. And no one really is working at a community level of saying, hey, we need to get people involved in working for the betterment of the community. No one except local government or, local government really. The local government often doesn't do it unless they've created some kind of vehicle to do it, like a community leadership program. And so, I mean, what we're talking about here is really about the only vehicle that exists in most communities, unless there's something that I'm not thinking of, that wants to engage people for the sake of making their place better. So, it's a great opportunity. And if you can start to invest in, you guys are looking like all bummed about your scores. Don't be, because I'm going to give you a chance to bump those scores up, okay? So, I'm like looking at y'all and you're all like looking at me like crap. So, let that go. This is intended to help you learn and think, okay, so what does this mean? And don't worry about your grade, because we'll have time to catch that up. But the reason it's important, and really the reason that this whole subject matter is should be, I hope, is clicking for you, is that community leadership doesn't just, it may, often doesn't happen unless there's some kind of intentional structure for it to happen. And about the only level that has some kind of intentional structure for it to happen is if local government does it, and local government often does it through a community leadership program. So those are the connections I was hoping to hear in your work.
Oh,
Yes.
can I make a suggestion if you use that question in the future?
Yes.
The using elements twice at the end of that the question was super confusing. Like, how do these important elements affect these elements? Maybe like changing it to these desired outcomes. Showing the connection, because like I was super confused about like what I was supposed to be talking about. So
yes, that's good. That's good.
just in case you use that in the future, that might be helpful for those that are taking it later.
No, that's a good suggestion. And that is. And I'm sorry I wasn't here to be able to respond to that question. So question number 3, Cryle begins the handbook by saying there's a distinction between products and place. Between products and process. Products are the what gets done. This is all just on page 1 of the book. And process is how it gets done. And while that seems like a really simple concept, and I mean it's not real complex, but for many, many years I ran a community development initiative. And what I found is that what we were really trying to do was develop the capacity for communities to more effectively engage in making change. But what all the federal and state institutions were asking was product information. How many jobs did you create? How many new buildings did you construct? How many swimming pools did you put in? How many parks did you put? How much money did you raise? They were all looking at the kind of tangible outcomes. And so what's distinctively important about that is that products are what gets done, often what gets measured, but the process of how things get done is really what provides the opportunities for leadership, for engaging, for building trust, for building social cohesion, for networking, all these things that people are saying, this is what we want out of our leadership program. And so the process is equally important to help think about how are we basically building the capacity of the individuals and of that system of a community to effectively get things done. And there's become a lot more research that says if you've got good process, if you've got good leadership, good networks, good relationships, etc., it's kind of what our text was saying, you're more likely to have success in developing products. You'll get more outcomes, more engagement, more work done. So that's, again, a 10-pointer to try to say, show me that connection. And what's the distinction? So, number 4. The 3 things, most of you guys rock this one. Framing ideas, building social capital, and mobilizing resources. Framing ideas is incredibly important. And I will say that I know you guys talked about it while I was away about framing. Framing is how a topic is conceptualized or introduced. As I was thinking about our project, earlier Dakota mentioned, we're learning about what good community leadership development programs should look like and what they can do. And so can't we tell leadership Winchester Clark County what they should do? We could say that you should do X, but that would be framed in that we know their issues, we know their answers, and we have a solution for them because they're not doing it right. Or you could reframe it and say, in our class, we understand through PIG, Gasteyer, etc., that they've done research that indicates strong community leadership programs focus on social cohesion, civic engagement, and collective action. Based on their recommendations, here's some resources that if that's where you want to go, this is what we suggest. It kind of reframes the perspective a little bit. In framing, I find that it is a key practice. Most often in rural communities, people don't frame very well. They frame an issue with a solution. And so, an example, we were putting together a discussion guide. I wanted to have a public discussion. And it was around ban on smoking, right? So they said, well, we should have a public discussion on banning public smoking. So why isn't that a good framing for a discussion?
It's focused on the negation.
Say what?
It's focused on the negation versus like replacing the habit with a habit.
Yeah, it's kind of saying basically the proposal is that we're going to ban it, right? I mean, so that's a solution that they've already decided on. And now we're going to decide whether that solution is right or wrong. And so if you come to a conversation about banning public smoking, how are you going to enter that conversation? I mean, just typically, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
You're against it.
Which side of that issue are you on? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it polarizes it, and so it takes sides. And so we reframed it to say we're going to have we're going to have a discussion on smoking in public. Do people have a right to do that? What are the drawbacks? What are the trade-offs? What does it mean? What does it mean to you? What do you bring to that conversation about, let's talk about smoking in public? It's a different conversation. So how you frame it is very different. But often people come to it with an answer in mind. And so, for example, with the parking issue that Shana talked about, people would say the issue with parking is that they should have more garages closer to homes. Because they're coming with an answer, a solution, and they're framing that as if that's the issue. Is really that the primary issue? Or is it, how would you reframe that? What's at the heart of that issue? I mean, what do you hear?
What was the original thought?
So she was talking about parking on campus, right? Brought it up and said that's an issue. Well, so is the issue, if I came and I said the issue with the parking is that they should have more garages closer to campus, so how would you reframe that conversation if you wanted to have an open conversation about that topic?
Maybe the lack of parking on campus.
Or access to classes, or, yeah, I mean, so it's a challenge, it's hard, but what's at issue? Is it that people aren't able to drive on campus? Is the issue getting students to class? Is the issue, I mean, in which case, there are some campuses that don't try to be vehicle free, and so they might consider public transportation, or better walking, or biking, or some alternatives. But if the issue is we should have more garages on campus, none of that gets discussed. I mean, it's not a part of the conversation. So I'm seeing you guys are looking at me. What I want to say is that how an issue is framed makes all the difference in the world. We had a guest speaker come, and she was talking about British Airways, and this was around appreciative inquiry. But she told us that she was contracted to come to British Airways because British Airways was losing baggage, right, with the airways. And so they were taking the baggage basically because it got lost at like LaGuardia or something, or not, it was British Airways. It was, what was it? Anyway, it was being lost at one airport, and they were having issues because they had to ship it, and their shipping really wasn't on time so that they could get it to the customers at the airport. I mean, it was just kind of a consistent thing. And so they spent a whole bunch of time and money and resources with their employees trying to figure out how to better apologize to customers for luggage mix-ups. A lot of time, a lot of money. So she came in and she said, what if we started by not losing the luggage in the first place? I mean, instead of putting a whole bunch of energy into framing the issue as we've got really irate customers, we've got to figure out a better way to calm them down. What if we put the same amount of energies into not losing the luggage in the first place? And it was kind of one of those things that was, again, a duh moment. But they just got stuck into framing and defining the issue in a way that wasn't productive. And so it got them on a dead end. So, okay. Question number, let's see, building social capital. I think you guys know that, so you did a good job on the test. Now, also want to give you an example of an annotated bibliographies for your work for next week. Let's do Tuesday. So that's after this. But Flora, Bastion, and Mannion. What four characteristics do these researchers use to rate community leadership curriculum? 4 times 2, that was 8 points. And why is each important? That was 5. That's an additional 20, 28 points. That was actually the biggest question on the test. And some folks hadn't read the article. So last Tuesday, I said, go read the article. And today, you got a chance to add 28 additional points to your score if you get this right. So, yeah, clear your desk there. Clear your minds. Tell me what you learned. Questions? Yeah?
Can I just do that first?
You know what you can do is put that away and re-attack this question. And whatever score you get here gets added up to this.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not losing anything.
Okay.
So you'll keep the points if you had points for number 5. You'll just get additional if you can answer it twice right again. So.
I want to pause this. I want to pause this.
Yeah, whatever.